and welcome back to my channel. I'm Ginny Mae, the Intergalactic Supreme Goddess of Guest Service, and if you're new to my channel, welcome, and thanks so much for joining. If you haven't already, press the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you know when I come out with a new video every week. This week, I would love to talk about my 3 hot tips for May, and I hope you're doing wonderful on this beautiful day. I have tip number 1 is stay positive. How do you stay positive? Well, I personally stay positive by staying off the TV. I mean, the news is going on all the time and there's so much information about you know what going around, and you can end up just going down the news hole with that. Plus, every time I see too many commercials that are really stupid, I start getting really bummed out. I start getting like really kind of depressed or irritated. And you know what? After a while, I found out, hey, this watching the news so much is ending up making me in a really bad mood. So I tried to challenge myself to, you know what, stay off the TV for a whole entire day and see what happens. And you know what, my mood skyrocketed. I was so happy about it. And you know, a lot of things on the news we need to definitely know about. We need to know when things are opening or if, you know, it's going to affect us in some way, but usually that only takes about 10 minutes. And the rest of the time you hear more and more people on the TV end up evaluating the situation and talking about it from all different angles. And you know what, you just get the information you need and then get off the TV. Another thing I really like to do every morning is just work out. Doesn't mean you have to work out for 2 hours. I mean, just do like 15 minutes, maybe do 30 minutes a day. It really ends up lightening your mood. And there's a lot of things you can do at home. There's a lot of YouTube channels. I personally use a program called Tracy Campoli, which I'll put a link in the bottom, that I really love, and it's a lot of fun. It is only for women, but it's something that you can end up doing home and you get into a really positive mood about it. For my other tip, under stay positive, I have also in the last couple weeks, in the last month or so, been invited to quite a few of these online parties. You can use Zoom, or there's a lot of different platforms you can end up using. And I thought it was so fun to see all my friends there, and you can get a glass of wine or whatever. And you know, there's all different games you can end up playing. You know, there's some question games and stuff, then people can go around and ask questions. Or a lot of times it's just a lot of fun to see your friends again, and you naturally end up blah, 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 ended up talking. And if you don't have a lot of time, just set it for an hour. But it has always been somebody else that has invited me. And I thought, you know what, if you're sitting home bored and you do miss somebody, and it doesn't matter where in the world, I mean, everybody can do an online party pretty much, right? Even my mom, who's like 80 something, can end up figuring out the iPad and doing an online party. So I can highly suggest to get on that phone or those text messages or however you contact your friends and set up an online party for maybe this upcoming weekend. Another thing I really like doing is, I really hope it's good weather where you are, but it's been really nice weather here. It hasn't been the warmest, so no, I can't go out with shorts and a t-shirt on, but you know what, I can go on with a really light jacket and just sit out in the sun for a little bit. Getting that sunshine just in your face and on your skin is something that's giving you extra vitamins, and it's actually gonna make you feel a lot more positive. Also, just some fresh air in general will help you sleep better, and maybe you'll wake up a little earlier, which is another tip that I really enjoy, to make sure that you have a full day, and that's gonna help your positivity and your happiness level. If you like to read, hey, order yourself a new book, or you know, even you can on Amazon, you can get used books, you can get ones online. Maybe you also have some friend that has the same interest. Ask them if they have some extra books that maybe you can borrow, even 1 or 2, and pick up a book and try to learn something. We all feel good about ourselves when we learn something new. So pick up a book. I also like to cook, and I have a lot of cookbooks, but a lot of times we end up cooking the same thing over and over again. So I like to just pick up a cookbook and you know, kind of go through it and find something, oh, that's quite interesting, and I'm free right now, so why not take a whole day to make something that I thought I would never be able to make? And of course, maybe it doesn't turn out great the first time, but you can always work on it more and more, and of course, perfection makes perfect at some point. I also really like to do kind of brain games. There's a lot of puzzles, there's even like coloring. I've seen a lot of my friends color and then show their coloring pictures online. And if you're one of those type of people that like to do that, I mean, find something that's accessible to you to keep the brain kind of going. Any type of puzzles or brain games or coloring or something that relieves tension or that's very relaxing for you. But besides just sitting there watching TV all day, sitting there online watching TV today or gaming all day, of course, might be exciting at the time, but you know what, a little while later, you're not gonna feel so great about it. So, number 1 tip was stay positive. Let's go on to the number 2 tip, and that is to start a new positive habit. Everybody has a habit or 2 or maybe 3 or more that maybe they're thinking someday I need to change this habit. Why not, while you have a little extra time right now, really focus on yourself, pick one of those things and try to make yourself a new habit. Some of the new habits I really like to implement is, for example, a morning routine. You probably heard it before that, successful people have a morning routine. And I also have my own personal morning routine. I've been doing it for 4 years religiously, and it makes me feel a lot better. So for example, I try to wake up early, set your alarm. After you do wake up at a certain time early in the morning, you end up naturally waking up at that time every day, and try to go to bed a little bit earlier. I know that here in Denmark, it becomes lighter and lighter and lighter. So when it starts to get dark, I'm thinking, I might as well go to bed because no matter how early I wake up, it's really light here. And I really like to be outside, do a little gardening, or just be outside and see the sun. And of course, that happens in the day. So why stay up all night if I'm going to end up wasting my whole day the next day? I also like to work out a little bit every morning. And I am one of those people that is very easy to skip breakfast. But find a little breakfast that's healthy, that you really like, that's inexpensive, and make that. I know my son, he really loves millennial toast, and that's just toast, cream cheese, avocado, and you know what, there's so many different variations. It's cheap, it tastes great, and it's halfway healthy for you. I also find that if you have extra time, meditating in the morning, trying to find an intention of 1 to 3 things that you really like to accomplish that day for yourself, and really setting the attention that way, and also achieving that. That's going to make you a lot happier as well. Sometimes I like to journal. Just, you know what, a lot of times when you wake up in the morning, you're like, I had this crazy dream, and you think about it right away, but then if you grab your mobile phone and you start looking on social media, all of a sudden that whole dream that you were thinking is just disappeared, because now you've filled your mind with something else. Hey, try not to be on that phone right away in the morning and think a little bit more about your dream. I like to have a little cheap book next to my bed with the pen, and when I wake up in the morning, if I have time, of course, a lot of us do have time right now, pick that book up and just write down as much as you can remember about the dream. And the crazy part, I dare you to try it next time, because if you start writing down the dream, it's going to kind of get your brain going, and you're going to remember more parts of that dream. And they say that dreams are kind of our brain trying to figure out life and things that are going on, maybe solve some different challenges that we have, and the solution could have been in your dream. But if you picked up your phone and started looking at social media, then the answer is forgotten and it's stuck in your brain and you can't remember it. So my tip to also start a new positive habit is to start writing down your dreams and catching your dreams and finding some different answers that you actually have in there can make you really happy. I found that another new habit that I really like is to find out the different ways I am grateful. And you can do this in a journal. For example, you can write down maybe for 2 minutes about all the different things that you're grateful for the day, or you can just count on your fingers and push yourself to think about 10 things that you're grateful for. When we are being grateful, that really ends up calming down the body. It brings all these positive feelings up. So I can highly recommend to, even just start out with pushing yourself to remind yourself 10 grateful things that you have every morning. Of course, it's going to put you in a much better mood than if you did not do it. I also can highly recommend, if you do not have a good night routine for yourself, try to implement one of these. Another thing, I do like to journal. Sometimes it doesn't have to be so long, and when I journal I write really messy like a doctor, so I probably can't even read it again. But I like to just kind of write down, what did I do through the day? What did I like to do through the day? What was some of the different challenges? What do I hope will end up coming? In the evening, a lot of times, depending on what happened through my day, I have a really hard time sleeping. I know if you're one of the people that are playing and gaming on your computer all the time and your brain is going and it's all, has this adrenaline and everything, it takes a couple hours for your brain to calm down so that you can end up sleeping. And I really like going to bed a little earlier so I can wake up a little bit earlier. And if I'm having a hard time going to sleep, I just go online and try to find some free meditation. And there's a lot of them that are for laying in bed and put your headphones in, and it actually relaxes you so much, and then you can fall asleep a lot faster. I think laying in bed, tossing and turning and trying to fall asleep is such a waste of time. So finding a free meditation that helps me relax to go to sleep and purposely for falling asleep just buys me actually more time. And so I can highly recommend that. Nighttime, again, I can highly suggest get off your phone, get off the social media, because that gets your brain thinking about all different things, and that's not what you need right now. Your brain needs calmness. And it's not how you want to really end the day anyway. So I can highly recommend, when you get into bed, get rid of the phone. Maybe use it for the meditation, of course, but don't start going on Instagram and Facebook and everything else and seeing what everybody else in the world is doing. Use that time for yourself to try to get some quality sleep, and you can do that tomorrow while you're sitting out in the sun. My last tip for your night routine is, if you ever wanted to learn a new language, research shows that if you start to learn 3 to 5 new words at night of a different language, and then you fall asleep, and in the morning you try to rehearse those words again, or you look at them again, that is the number way to memorize things and the best time to do it. So even though your brain might be really tired at night and you learn 3 to 5 new words at night, at least just looking at them and then falling asleep, it kind of like it sinks in or something, and you can actually learn a language faster. So if you're on one of those language apps, that's also a good one, not to spend a lot of time on, but maybe just a little bit of time so you have some words to kind of sleep on and pack down so you can learn the language a little bit faster. And my number 3 tip for May is greet everyone you see. I really miss my friends and my family, but you know what? I do have to go to the grocery store sometimes, and I do need to walk down the street, and of course I'm going to end up passing people. Sometimes I pass, of course, complete strangers, but a lot of times I end up passing a neighbor or somebody I've seen hundreds of times before. And a lot of times, if you're kind of in your own world, you don't even look at the other person. Maybe you just look and smile or just kind of walk by. Why not try to practice a little bit of greeting people? I know that we have to kind of keep a distance from everybody, but you can yell good morning or good afternoon or hey, how are you doing? And smile to people from a distance. It's just going to make you feel better. It's going to help you work on your confidence a little bit more, and it's going to make the person that's receiving it in a lot better mood as well. Why not go around and be an energy giver instead of an energy sucker? Because we're either one or the other. Rarely are we an energy neutral person. So I love going out and trying to give that energy in a better way. I know that when I go to the grocery store, a lot of times when people are checking you out, maybe they just have their robotic, hey, how are you? Or sometimes here, they don't even say anything, nor they don't look at you. But when I get up there, I like saying something like, hey, how are you doing? And then maybe have a little bit of a conversation while you're, getting your bags ready or whatever. And I think that is such a nice little uplifting thing, since we don't get to talk to so many people live throughout the day. Why not it be us that is the ones that are going out to start to greet people, smile people, have a little mini conversation, and making not only other people's day better, but also our day. And it's a great way to practice, so when we get back into the restaurants and we get back on the floor and we're able to see more and more people, that we can be the person that's like, wow, your confidence level has really, really grown. And of course, you'll be able to feel that yourself. And my extra tip for May, even though I said there's 3, I do have a 4th tip for you today, and that is kind of a leech on to the last one. When you greet people, always look at somebody, and I know you do it in your brain anyway, but you're like, wow, I really like that dress, or maybe I don't like that dress, or I really like their hair. I mean, when you see people, in passing today or wherever you are, or even on your live party meetings that you have. I mean, look at people and find something you like about them. Maybe it's a physical trait. Maybe it's a way that they do something that you really, really like, and throw them a compliment about it. Compliments make people feel so special and loved. So why not try to find a way to compliment almost every person you see? It can be just something little like, oh, I really like your shoes, or hi, how are you doing? Wow, I love your jacket. But I think one thing when you do compliment someone, make sure not to lie, because they will totally feel that, and that's worse than not saying anything at all. So make sure your compliment is truly genuine. And remember, a compliment can only be on something that's really, really small. That just means that you're really looking at the details, and that shows what type of person you are. Also, when you're complimenting people, try not to use the word but or if. Oh, I liked your hair if. You don't want to put anything on there. Just say the compliment straight out, the little phrase, smile, and you know what? If they end up giving a compliment back to you, all you need to say is the most polite thing, and that is thank you. And that's it. And you can continue the conversation, or you can say thank you, have a great day, and then you can walk away. And of course, then you got a compliment back. A lot of us feel really great when we get compliments. I think a lot of us put on clothes and they, do our hair and our makeup or whatever because we want to impress the people around us. So if somebody ends up giving us a compliment, of course we feel great about it. So why not go out this May and enjoy the weather? If you see somebody else, throw them a compliment, a greeting, a smile. Try to create some new habits and maybe break some old habits that you'd like to get rid of. And I really hope you have a wonderful evening or day or morning, and I'll see you next time. I'm Ginny Mae, the Intergalactic Supreme Goddess of Guest Service, and I thank you so much for watching my video. Please hit the thumbs up because it really helps our channel. And if you'd like more tips and tricks on service and how to up your service game, click here. And press on my face right here to subscribe. And don't forget to ring the little bell icon so you get a notification every time I come out with a new video. Follow me on Instagram, and let's go out and get amazing service.